Heracleitus is a very interesting figure, and there are two spellings of his name. Either is acceptable. But Heracleitus looks at what the Milesians are proposing, and he thinks that there's a serious problem. Namely, they're trying to explain everything in terms of the universe being made up of certain matter. And then they notice that things are changing, so they're trying to use matter to explain change. And he thinks that they're missing the reality, because the reality is that if there's one thing that's constant in the universe, and it's the basic premise in the universe, is that everything is constantly changing. Everything we see is change. And this is sometimes called the doctrine of the flux. And one of the quotes of that's attributed to Heracleitus is, "You can't step into the same river twice." And in fact, he had a student, Cratylus, who Plato quotes as saying, not only that, but you can't even step into the river once. The idea is the river is always changing. So if you've stepped into the river, the waters are flowing. By the time you step in the second time, or you put your second foot in, it's a different river. So here, everything is in a state of everything in the world. The river is just an example of everything in the world. And there are all kinds of apparent contradictions, but Heracleitus thinks that they really aren't contradictory, but rather he has a doctrine it's called the unity of opposites, that the opposites are two sides of the same coin. An example he gives of that is the road up is the same as the road down. It's not a different. We think they're opposites. They're in opposite directions, but it is one in the same road. So the one thing that's constant is change in the universe, not matter, but change in the universe. And thus, the Milesians are wrong. And he has a very strong influence on Plato, because Plato has no way to respond to this. And if you notice, if everything is always changing, everything that we believe based on our senses is wrong, because we see physical objects in the universe, but they're not permanent, they're not real.